We are time travelling. Yes, it's Doctor Who Sunday.
Hello and welcome back to Chat About It, Don't Shout About It with me, Rachel, the Queen of the Woke, as crowned by one of my haters.
I crown you Queen of the Woke!
Let's chat about it.
Please let me know what you think of the story Tooth and Claw, which was written by Russell T Davies in the comments section below. Polls were paused just recently, however, there will be one released this Saturday coming, so please keep an eye out for that. Tooth and Claw was voted by you, the subscriber, and it aired on the 22nd of April 2006. Wow, that's like nearly 20 years old. That's insane. Wow. Okay. It's 1879, and we see some monks in Scotland overthrow the estate of Sir Robert, and they capture his wife and staff. They bring with them a deadly trap that has been brewing for centuries. The Doctor and Rose land in 1879 as well, after the Doctor made a mistake. Victorian England, United Kingdom in Scotland. They immediately meet Queen Victoria, who is on an annual pilgrimage. She brings the Doctor and Rose to Sir Robert's estate to stay the night. However, they soon discover that the monks' trap of the legendary werewolves and the plot to overthrow Queen Victoria could jeopardize the entire empire and the royal family, and of course history itself. Can the Doctor and Rose stop the plot from taking place in time? So, this is definitely one of the better ones from Russell T Davies. Hands up, going to straight up admit that Tooth and Claw is more up there with being right up my alley. It's not a perfect story by any means, although I wish it were. It has history in it, and if you've been around here for long enough, you will know that history is my favourite aspect with Doctor Who. I love the fact that once again the Doctor messes up the timeline. He lands in 1879 instead of 1979. That's a stark difference, but it's a very typical thing of the Doctor to do by accident. And it's okay, it's fine. That's why we love the Doctor. I think that Rose has a very good reaction to this. Sometimes I feel, in particularly with today's Doctor Who, that the companions' reactions can be very blasé about the time period or genre, or be mad with the Doctor for getting it wrong. Rose doesn't ever seem to really do that. In fact, she's quite excited about being in Queen Victoria's time. Billie Piper made the right decision to switch from singing to acting as well, I think. Don't get me wrong, her singing was fine. But she always seems to be much more comfortable with acting. She has a sense of fun about her. And her fear in this story bubbles away underneath the surface. You can see that she is scared, but for the sake of everybody else, she seems to be trying to keep it calm. I always think that the Doctor and Rose as friends works much better than the Doctor and Rose as lovers. I always found the romance storyline a little bit soapy at points, and I know that we can all agree to disagree on that observation. It's just my personal preference. Now, Rose makes an observation, and I would question if it would be something that she would have known, as I don't ever recall learning about it in school. So please let me know what you think about this particular thing that I'm going to say in the comments section below, if you think she would have known. She asks the Doctor if the diamond that the Queen Victoria had, the Koh-i-Noor diamond, well, she asks him about it. She asks him if it was the Koh-i-Noor diamond. Sorry, I should be more clear there. I like the fact that it was added in, as it was not really well known that she was gifted this particular diamond as the Empress of India. I would have thought, though, that Rose perhaps wouldn't have known about it, and the Doctor would have explained that it was the Koh-i-Noor diamond instead. It's just an observation that I made, all right? However, the one thing that I will give RTD credit for here, which I don't feel like I have done a lot for recently, is that he went with Queen Victoria, and instead of using well-known facts about her, He used obscure facts that was rarely taught about her. So that Kohinoor diamond was mentioned, but he also mentions that there had been assassination attempts on Queen Victoria, which was true. She survived, I think it was about 8 in total. The writing also plays into the fact that she truly did love her husband, Prince Albert, and that her death was affected, it affected her very deeply. I often wondered why that's why she historically wore black, particularly after he died, as a sign of mourning. The writing also mentions the royal disease haemophilia, and that Queen Victoria had it, but no one knew where it came from. I think RTD plays into the notion that the disease came where the disease came from in Doctor Who history was a scratch from a werewolf. Also, it does play into what people believe today, that the royal family are lizard or reptilian people, something not of this world. The royal reptilian conspiracy theory, and he's sort of implying that maybe Queen Victoria started with Queen Victoria and she is no longer not of this world. RTD does do a fair few nods to random and not very well known facts, so I'll give him credit for that, because that is one of the purposes behind Doctor Who, to educate families with history. That was one of the premises for how it began. I think he also tries, through the power of the story, to offer some words of closure for Queen Victoria. He wrote it so that Prince Albert wanted to protect her after he was gone, a notion that is quite a sweet one. I also had no issue with that, by the way. Quite often, it's not the Doctor always saving the day under RTD. It's someone else, a notorious habit for the Eccleston era and the Gatwa era. All right? In this, he has it so that Prince Albert and Robert's father were laying a trap for the werewolf. This I don't mind, because the context of the closure for Queen Victoria, it just takes the Doctor to put the last few pieces of the puzzle together and set up and set it all up, and the pacing all of that was very well done as well, by the way, indeed. But it takes those last few pieces for him to put together. So the scene where the Doctor saves the day with the diamond that Albert had cut was all very well done indeed, and it was very well filmed and edited. The size of the telescope for that was huge as well in perspective, and I thought that the effects were very well done for the time, especially the werewolf transition. That couldn't have been easy to do on a budget. Now, I'm not always the biggest fan of mythology in Doctor Who. In this, though, I think it does work. I think it was just the right amount as well. It wasn't too much. Their want was a simple one for the werewolf: take over the royal family, and you have their empire. That makes perfect sense. I think my favourite bit, though, with the werewolf was with the steward. Normally, what happens when one of the aliens takes out a human or someone who is considered to be on the good side is you either see it from the side perspective, which they do set up a side shot perspective, or you see it behind, or they disguise the attack. This time they do none of these. They set it up with a side shot, but then they lead you into this false sense of security by having the steward walk forwards towards the Doctor, but then they take the attack from the top, which I think was a very good jump scare. I will say that I do have a couple of negatives as well. Firstly, the music is overbearing. I don't know what it is with the BBC. And I don't know what it is how they do their music and mixing the sound of the story and the speaking together with it. But quite often they lose the voices. I found that it does happen on occasion in this story as well. Now I'm going to say something that is sacrilegious, and I think maybe even I might to a degree get roasted. I don't know. But whatever. I honestly think that David should have stuck with his native Scottish accent for this role. Back then, not so much now, but back then, in his earlier acting days, I found that sometimes he would slip up in the neutralization of his accent. It's just a thought. We had a Northern Eccleston and a Scottish McCoy, though, by that point, and we could have had a Liverpudlian Eighth Doctor, but he decided not to go with that. Now, by the way, the sonic screwdriver that I love to hate was not used for 20 minutes. And after it was barely used at all. Maybe a few times. That's a mark of a good story. And that someone actually had ideas for it. You could have even not written the sonic screwdriver in it at all. Really, you couldn't have, because, the story was good enough to live without it. Now, this part of the review, I didn't know where to put this particular part of the review, right? We had the historical monks, which I do wish had a much bigger role. But the karate matrix style scene, I think, made up for it. It's so good. It's amusing. It's highly entertaining. It's just matrix style. And I think what was also a nice little tie-in was that Queen Victoria decided to set up the Torchwood Institute, the one that linked Torchwood to Doctor Who for good. So that was a very good move there. Now, overall, this story was not a story of two parts. It never needed to be, and obviously it wasn't. So why did I say it never needed to be? Okay, it doesn't need to be. It was clear, it was concise, and the pacing was very good for it. And overall, it was just generally a very enjoyable story from Russell T Davies. Now, you're obviously more than welcome to disagree with me in the comment section below, but feel free to let me know what you think about it. Chat about it, don't shout about it. Thank you very much for watching. Chuck us a sub if you would like to. Bye bye.
Thank you for watching today. Don't forget you can join me on my other platforms as well. I've got YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, X, TikTok, Instagram, Locals, Substack, and I also have a Discord. Everything is linked below.